Christmas tree decorating for Christmas. The children. Be Christmas about Santa Claus.
Anh ลูกใหญ่อยู่ไหนลูกใหญ่พี่ใส่แล้วมันไม่ได้ใส่แบบนั้นมันใส่ไงเขาใส่เลย
Sway, darling.
มันต้องถอดอันนี้ออกก่อนตอนลืมอะมันไม่ได้เป็น
Christmas bells.
ตอนอย่าลืมตอนตาตุ๊กตา
Dukada Santa. Dukada means toys.
พี่เต้มันเนียนเลยนี่มันต้องใส่แบบ
Gold star with a silver star. So here's how it looks. I think the decorations are beautiful enough. In 1990, my family got an Amiga 500 and I was 7 years old at the time. And that Christmas, my father bought me and my brother one Amiga game, which is this game Hybris, because me and my brother mostly wanted Dino Riders and Ninja Turtles toys for that Christmas. Hybris is a Euro shooter. It was a good game for me and my brother to play at the time. Like I said, I was 7 years old and my brother was 5 years old. And Euro shooters are much easier than Japanese shoot 'em ups. Well, usually they are. There's fun level designs, alien rocky world, ocean with battleships and alien looking worlds that have giant caterpillars and looks like a hive thing. There's good customization options as well. You can slow down the enemy bomb speed, increase your lives, increase how often power-ups show up, and you have unlimited continues in this game as well. But if you have to continue, the game will push you further and further back each time. So yeah, this was the first Amiga game I actually beat, and me and my brother had so much fun with it. For Christmas in 1991, me and my brother got a couple batches of games, because Amiga games were often sold in packs. One of those games was Terminator 2, and despite what people say about this game, I enjoyed it because the movie was released that year, and it's one of my favourite action movies. The combat is a bit heavy, but in the Terminator movies they fight using brute strength anyways, but there are combos you can use to cheese your way through the one-on-one battles against the T-1000, and there's racing segments where when you memorize where all the obstacles are, they're not too difficult, and a fairly easy shooting section outside the Cyberdyne building. This was one of the first Amiga games I actually beat, and at least it has full motion video from the movie and some nice music. I found it a fun game. Like I said, I was only 8 years old when I played. It brought me happy memories. Another game that I got bundled with other Amiga games for that Christmas was Batman. I enjoyed the platforming segments in this game. You use the Batarang and grapple, and you just climb around and take out enemies with a Batarang. The intro screen has a colourful presentation. I didn't like the Batmobile section though, because there's a time limit and you have to use the grapple to swing the Batmobile away from the police, and if you miss the timing 3 times with the grapple to swing the Batmobile away from the police, you will lose a life. And like I said, there's a time limit, so you can't just coast your way to victory, and the controls are sensitive, and if you hit another car in front of you, you'll take damage. And there's the Batwing sections where you've got to cut the balloons. There's a time limit as well, and I could never get past that segment, so I had to use the level sheet. But the final level of the game is another platforming segment, and I could beat that level. I had fun with this game, but I had to use cheats for one of the levels to actually be able to get to the end of the game. In 1991, The Simpsons were very popular, and I never thought a Simpsons game could be unfun. Sure, the game is colourful, it's got full motion video scenes that look like from the cartoon, at least the Amiga version has, but the gameplay is very difficult. It's way too difficult for children. It's still easy on the eyes, and I could never get past the second level, but some areas in the first level were fun enough. It's nicely presented. I don't like wrestling, but I had some fun with this game. The fighting in it has enough depth. You don't see it in this footage, but there's some special moves that are challenging to perform, but satisfying when you do. I liked pile driving my opponent with Hulk Hogan. You don't see it in this footage. You can climb on the ring corner and jump kick into your opponent. You can go outside the ring, pick up a chair. And there's technical depth to the fighting, and there's some nice presentation. Again, you don't see it in this footage. By presentation, you'll see a picture of your wrestler trash talking his opponent and vice versa. And there's portraits of the wrestlers and some enjoyable music. The Amiga version of this game looks better than the arcade version, and using a mouse for a light gun arcade shooter worked well. However, being an arcade game meant it was designed to make you keep putting in money to keep playing the game, because the arcade game was known for being difficult. The Amiga version is difficult, and you only have a limited number of continues, so I couldn't beat this game, but I had a fair bit of fun playing through the first two stages over and over. I love the movie, but this game, the gameplay is very slow and sluggish, and I'm glad that I got it as part of a bundle and didn't buy it separately. I later learned the game has only 3 levels and the game can be beaten in 10 minutes, but I couldn't even get past the first level. The controls and the level design were horrible. Here's the final level here. Look how slow and boring the gameplay looks. One of the most boring final boss battles ever. Now we're into Christmas 1992. My family now owns a Sega Mega Drive, and we're going to get into some real good stuff now. Phantasy Star 2 was the game that got me into JRPGs. It was the Ultima games that got me into RPGs, but since many of the great SNES JRPGs weren't released for PAL region, I was grateful Phantasy Star and Shining Force games came to the Mega Drive. Phantasy Star 2 also felt fresh with the sci-fi aesthetics and a story driven by science. It has nice anime style visuals, and it was released in the late 80s, but when I played this in the early 90s, it was ahead of its time. The stories, the characters live in a utopia, a lush tropical world named Motavia that is being governed by an AI named Mother Brain, which makes decisions for them, gives them a peaceful life. But it started malfunctioning, and you're on a journey to find out why. The battles are turn-based, and you use sci-fi style weapons, such as lasers, which is cool. You'll also travel to other planets with very diverse landscapes. I like how the dungeons have a sci-fi feel. This game was a very captivating game to have and made my Christmas that year special. I still have a copy of Sonic 2 that I got from that Christmas. Sega! Such happy memories when I hear this music. It was actually my brother that selected Sonic 2 for Christmas, and I selected Phantasy Star 2, so I got to play some amazing games. This game was colourful, it had speed, it was on the easy side, but who cares, it was a great game for a 9-year-old, me at the time, and it still had things to do outside beating the game, such as getting all the Chaos Emeralds, and there was a competitive 2-player mode, and the game could be played, the story could be played in 2 players, one person using Sonic, the other using Tails, so it was a perfect game for me and my brother at the time. It was cheerful and it suited the mood for Christmas. The game also has futuristic levels, rural, Arabian theme, and stages where you go up into space. Underwater ruins, I'm not a big fan of playing Sonic when he's underwater, but the underwater ruins still look nice and there's nice music. One of my favourite 2D platformers ever. I'll let you watch a bit more of the fast gameplay footage. For Christmas 1993, the first game that me and my brother agreed on to select was Aladdin. It's one of my favourite 2D platformers of all time. The animation and gameplay and level design suit the music perfectly. The music still gives a warm feeling from the film. I've played through this game probably thousands of times, and I've purchased it for Nintendo Switch and PlayStation 4. As you can see, the environments look like you're watching a cartoon. They look just like you're watching the movie. Stage designs are so fun. I like the way the enemies come running towards you. I think the escape stage isn't that hard. If I beat the escape stage, I'm guaranteed to beat the game, because the rest of the game's actually a bit on the easy side, but it's so fun and playable. The escape stage, once you memorize everything, it isn't so bad. The rest of the game is so colourful and fun. The second game me and my brother chose for that Christmas was Ecco the Dolphin. It's definitely not a game for everyone, but it's so relaxing and tranquil. It has a spiritual feel, it's artistic, and I like the concept. You play as a dolphin who is trying to save Earth from an alien invasion by doing quests and puzzles under the ocean. I like how the clues to the puzzles are presented in a very philosophical type of way. Dolphins are very intelligent creatures, and there's stories how dolphins have protected humans that have been attacked by sharks. I like how the story is very mystical. It shows the story from the perspective of being a dolphin. The clues as to what the aliens are is very cryptic, and how you can go about beating them. But yeah, the ocean depths are full of dangers. There's sharks, there's other alien creatures. Ecco still needs to find pockets of air or surface at times, and there's lots of puzzles. It was a great game to have in late 1993. It was very ambient, beautiful experience. People talk about the game's difficulty, but it used a password system, and it wasn't that hard to find the password for the final level, which I used to, I guess you could say, finish the game. I beat the final level. Got stuck on some of the earlier levels, so I just skipped to the final level. Back then there was no internet, but there was still the Sega hotline. I had friends of school who gave me the password for the final level. For Christmas 1994, the game every kid at my school wanted was Mortal Kombat 2. The game was crazy expensive. It cost 150 Australian dollars, and even then it was difficult for my father to find it. He had to make a reservation for our copy, and he had to drive to a Game Wizards in the city because all the copies of this game were all sold out. 150 Australian dollars, if you were to count inflation for today's money, you could double or triple it, because people got paid less back then. Everyone wanted to play this game because it was so violent. The fatalities were very brutal, such as slicing someone through the middle, or you could transform into a dragon and bite someone in half. You could smash someone's head. The game played faster than the original Mortal Kombat and a little bit more fluid. The AI in the game is very beatable. When you jump backwards, the AI will jump forwards after you, and when it does that, you can just get a free hit on the AI. Back then, people liked hard games and didn't mind learning the patterns of levels and of AI opponents. But yeah, the gameplay, the graphics, music and fatalities were all done much better in this game compared to the original. Me and my brother played this game non-stop during that Christmas. Being so expensive, my parents said we could only get one game for that Christmas. But my father got another game for himself, which me and my brother liked, because me and my brother both like American football.
Welcome to John Madden Football.
Here's my authentic Dan Marino Miami Dolphins jersey I got back in 1996. I played this game a lot, especially being a simulation with realistic plays. And I remember taking the Dolphins and helping Dan Marino win a Super Bowl, so I helped him get a ring. I also won a Super Bowl with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This was when the Buccaneers would go something like 20 years without even making the playoffs. So it made you feel like a real coach. It was more about strategy than arcade-style skill. Good play calling, utilizing blockers was how you won at this game. When me, my father and brother used to watch American football, the matches were hosted by an American man who lived in Australia named Don Lane, and he was a very entertaining host, and he would give away free copies of Madden games for the Sega Mega Drive, and we entered the contest to try to win this game, so I'm glad my father bought it. I would replay the same season over and over, but pretend it's another season, and this game had so much replayability and was very addictive. Near launch in 1995, my family got a Sega Saturn. They were expensive, but my family wanted a CD player, and we had such good experiences of the Sega Mega Drive, we decided to stay loyal to Sega. And having a near arcade perfect version of Virtua Fighter in my living room was a awesome experience. I remember my friends at school being jealous because they were still gaming on 16-bit consoles. Virtua Fighter was certainly different to the other fighting games I had played, not just because it's 3D, but it focuses on realism. The fighting feels heavy. There's not much difference between special moves and the normal moves. It's about technique, and it uses real-world techniques. While I prefer 2D fighting games with over-the-top special moves and mechanics, this game was still a great experience. It felt real, it felt like the future, it felt like having an arcade machine in my living room. The other game we got for Christmas, Virtua Fighter, was a pack-in with the Saturn, but the first game we actually purchased was Daytona USA because me, my father and brother loved playing it at the arcade. And even though the game isn't arcade perfect, it's still much better than any racing game on a 16-bit system. I mean, listen to the music, and it was just so fun to play. The Saturn version let you modify the rules, such as having races of a lot more laps and giving you extra cars to choose from. Saturn version also let you use a horse that could run full speed across the grass.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
Like I said, not arcade perfect, but still so much fun. On a side note, it's known the launch lineup for the Sega Saturn wasn't that great, but luckily my birthday is in January, so I didn't have to wait more than a month to get another Saturn game, and I got a great 2.5D or 3D, whatever you want to call it, platformer in Bug, which was lots of fun, because as great as Virtua Fighter and Daytona were as arcade games, Bug gave me something that was more in-depth to play. I still have the copy of Street Fighter Alpha 2 that I got for that Christmas. Street Fighter Alpha 2 is my favourite fighting game of all time, and the Saturn version is my favourite version of that game because it lets you select Shin Akuma, and it's better than the PlayStation version. The arcade version doesn't let you select Shin Akuma. I love playing this game at the arcade, but like I said, I love playing it even more on the Saturn, and I like the Saturn's button layout for its controller. It has an arcade style layout. The graphics look like anime, and the fighting is so technical and fun. I know people say Street Fighter Alpha 3 and Street Fighter 3 Third Strike are more technical, but I like the way the technical side of fighting is in Street Fighter Alpha 2. It just gels with me. I like the way the fighting mechanics work. I like the amount of damage the special moves do, as well as the normal moves. And I love the music in this game. I love the environments in this game. They are very colourful and have nice themes. The game added some new good characters, and even though Street Fighter Alpha 3 has a huge roster of characters, like I said, I prefer the fighting in this game more, and I prefer the way this game looks compared to Street Fighter Alpha 3. I enjoyed playing this game on the Saturn for years and years. I still enjoy playing it now. This is the only game I got for that Christmas because my brother opted to get a remote control car. He wanted a buggy style one, and whatever made him happy. So I chose to get a Sega Saturn game. So I only had one new game to play during that Christmas, but this was a great one to play. I still have my copy of Final Fantasy VII. Everyone knows about Final Fantasy VII. It's widely regarded as one of the best games of all time. Some people say it is the best game of all time. It was revolutionary in how it used full motion video to make story scenes look like in a movie. I know it wasn't the first game to use full motion video scenes, not even the first RPG to do so, but it took it to another level, made it feel like you're watching a movie. Same with the pre-rendered backgrounds, made everything look real. This game was released in the West near the end of the year, right in time before Christmas, and in 1997 my family got a PlayStation. As you can see, Final Fantasy VII showed things such as people living in poverty within a cyberpunk city in a dystopian world. Story scenes are intense and exciting, but there's still beautiful regions in the world to explore. There's tropical resort towns, there's nice relaxing rural towns, there's even a amusement park where you can basically gamble. Story involved things such as a love triangle and genetically engineered characters, an alien, ancient races. Plot twists were constantly happening, but it all gelled well together. And Final Fantasy VII was a very addictive game. I always wanted to keep on seeing what happened next, and during my Christmas break and into the next year I wanted to keep playing this game until I beat it. I was glued to the TV. The characters are trying to save the world from a company that is draining the world's energy, which the world needs as a life force. So you play as a bunch of eco-terrorists, and all the plot twists start coming into the story. There's also a deep backstory about self-identity. The love triangle does have feeling because, well, I won't spoil it for people who haven't played the game, but I will say Cloud at one point liked Tifa, but then a traumatic event made him start to lose his memories and lose his personality a bit, but he starts liking another lady named Aerith. There's very psychological moments in the game, such as Barret has to choose between paying Cloud to bomb the Shinra reactors which are destroying the world, or using the money for his daughter's schooling. There's a lot going on in the story, and characters will die, and I like the turn-based system. The materia system, it's very accessible. Even people who are new to RPGs could figure out how to utilize the materia system and make your characters fairly powerful and useful. As you can see, the story kept making you want to see what happens next.
It elevates Grand Touring to a level never before achieved. It bears an impeccable pedigree and introduces exciting state-of-the-art technology. It's the 30th anniversary Falcon GT, and it comes straight from the heart of the team of engineers and designers at Ford and Tickford.
In 1998, my family got a PC, and we wanted to try some of the best looking games available at the time, and this game came out in late 1998. My father was a Ford manager for over 40 years, and my brother was nearly 15 and he was into cars, so they chose to get this game. It looked great, much better than the PlayStation version. You could choose the Australian Ford Falcon and Holden Commodore in the Australian version. You could also choose other popular car manufacturers, and you can have races, and you could also do hot pursuit mode where you need to try to outrun cop cars. Were kinda like the Sonic game I was hoping for during the 5th gen, but never came to the Saturn, because Crash has a flowing style of platforming and more linear levels, and there's some levels where you're going to run quickly, which are exciting. And Crash 2 is my favourite of the original Crash trilogy. Speaking of fast gameplay, this is what I mean. It requires memorization, but there's a lot of speed and fast reactions. There are a few gameplay sections that I like this. There's also side-scrolling platforming segments, but my favourite parts of the game is when it's flowing, because Crash is just running forward and spin dash anything, and like I said, this is a nice flow and it's fun. I got Final Fantasy VIII for Christmas in 1999. I'll use footage from an earlier video I did to explain why I love Final Fantasy VIII so much. Some of you might be thinking, what? Final Fantasy VIII is your favourite PlayStation 1 game? Well, here's my reason. The game is so beautifully and artistically presented. The world looks elegant. The narration is poetic, and it has a love story which some people don't like, but I like. I think Squall and Rinoa are a lovely couple. Rinoa gives a warm feeling, and I like scenes where Squall is carrying her. It's just very heartwarming. I'm going to give away some story spoilers because people who are watching this video have probably already played Final Fantasy VIII. The game does focus a fair bit on the love story, but the story is creative in that the main party are actually mercenaries who study at a academy known as Balamb Garden. A nation known as Galbadia is being aggressive to other smaller nations, and even though Balamb is neutral, when it sees the other smaller nations being attacked, Balamb sends your party as mercenaries to try to assassinate the sorceress who is behind a lot of the aggression. Story is thrilling, such as when Galbadia launches a missile attack at Balamb Garden, the university where the students study, and Balamb Garden transforms into a mobile city. I thought that was a very spectacular scene. As for the battle system, some people don't like the junction system, but now I can appreciate it. Basically, you got to draw magic from enemies or draw points and install them on a guardian force, which is basically a summon, to increase stats. The short explanation is, if you know where to draw the powerful magic, you can make your characters overpowered and godly very quickly. If you don't know where to draw the powerful magic, your party can be underpowered. Final Fantasy VIII was released at a time before most people had the internet, so I can understand people were unhappy with not knowing where to draw the powerful magic. But if you know where to draw the magic, like I said, you can make your characters very powerful quickly, and it's a much faster way to building a stronger party than having to level grind. In fact, in this game, level grinding is useless because enemies level up with you. Making your characters stronger is a matter of drawing the right magic and inputting it in the specific stats of your guardian forces. But the junction system does add a good amount of flexibility. Now, going back to the elegance the game has, one of my favourite scenes is when a beautiful woman is playing delicate piano music. It's very soothing, and at the same time, Squall is having another dream where he remembers being someone else. Very soothing and gentle scene. I'll let you watch a bit more of what happens. Beautiful storytelling, very delicate. Other things I like about this game is that towns allow you to enter most of the buildings, and the buildings' interior have a lot of details, something later Final Fantasy games don't have, even despite having better graphics and being open world. And I also like nice little features such as how Dealing City has a bus system. You can ride the buses around the city if you want. Anyways, these are the reasons why Final Fantasy VIII is my favourite PlayStation 1 game. In 2000 we upgraded our PC, so I decided to try out some of the new 3D RTS games. I love the original Dark Reign, which I played in 1998. It was released in 1997. Its story was interesting. It came with a Bible, and it explains how the world was polluted and overpopulated and run by a authoritarian regime. And later, prisoners and refugees fled Earth and found some other beautiful lush worlds, and then the Earth government found out and wanted control of these worlds, and that's how some wars broke out. Dark Reign 2 is actually a prequel to the original Dark Reign and shows the factions on Earth fighting for control over a polluted and overcrowded Earth. While the original Dark Reign focused on speed, Dark Reign 2 focuses a lot more on strategy because the factions are a lot more diverse than in the original game. I think the atmosphere in the game is amazing, showing a bleak wasteland Earth, and the techno soundtrack is eerie but futuristic, and the units are very diverse. It's a shame the sequel didn't get the same love the original did. I remember in 1997, before I had a PC, everyone at my school was talking about Dark Reign and Total Annihilation. Not long after Dark Reign 2 was released, Warhammer Dawn of War 40k and Warcraft 3, which are also 3D RTS games, were released, and they looked and played much better than this game. So I think this game came out during a bit of a transition phase when RTS games were becoming 3D. I still love this game nonetheless because I love the first Dark Reign game and I was into the story. As you can see, the units for the factions are diverse and aerial units are brought into the campaign fairly early on. This was the only game I got for Christmas in 2000, and it was the last game I ever got as a gift for Christmas because I was 17 at the time and only 1 month away from turning 18, and after I turned 18 I started working and I could buy my own games.
Strike Force, those things are cutting your team to ribbons. Pull back. You'll have to figure out some way to disable them. Signet out.
The pylons must have an external power source. If we can discover it, we can disable them.
There is one game I want to show that I bought during my adulthood, and that game is Super Mario Odyssey, because I bought it right before Christmas in 2022, because I bought a Nintendo Switch right before Christmas that year. Super Mario Odyssey does have a bit of a Christmassy feel, because there's some levels that you're in snowy towns and snowy environments, and the characters are wearing Santa Claus style hats. The towns look lovely, and I like the racing segment on the snow. Super Mario Odyssey has a lot of wacky and zany levels, and it's so playable. It's one of the best 3D platformers ever made. Here's what I mean, the puzzles aren't meant to stress you out, they're meant to make you think creatively and just have fun. Just like then. More creative level designs. Christmassy themed snowman who can blow you into what looks like either acid or toxic liquid. I'm not the one playing in the footage, but you can use Cappy to take control of the snowmen or cloud things. So you don't need to run past them, and you can blow away enemies. Besides snow and Christmas stuff, there's a New York style city called New Donk City. It's so fun to explain. A bustling city that looks like New York, where Mario is originally from. So many fun quests. Sense of scale, it's a very big environment. I like its open world style. You can climb very high on skyscrapers. There's just a great sense of scale. I don't have to talk too much. You can see how much fun exploration there is to do, and many fun things to do in this game. Here's what I mean, being able to tower up the skyscrapers. It's also done very fast, so it's fun. Some nice scenery wherever you go. The Seaside Kingdom is a coastal town, and it's one of my favorite levels in the game. So relaxing. You can do a bit of swimming. You can take control of creatures that can shoot water, which adds some extra depth of the platforming. You can take control of fish and swim around. There's underwater exploration. There's puzzles. You can ride plesiosaur type things. It's a very pleasant environment. As you can see, creative and fun platforming. I like this level because you can take control of T-Rexes and smash up bad guys and objects, and there's some beautiful waterfalls. A food-themed level that's very fun and colourful. Even though the pink liquid looks good, it'll kill you if you fall in it. Smashing up blocks of cheese with a hammer bro. A colourful volcano in a doomed theme level is nice. Video games have always been a special part of my life because they've helped make me the person that I am. giving me inspiration and teaching me to think outside of a box. I hope you enjoyed this video, and Merry Christmas. And as you can see, video games have helped give me warm memories during Christmas over the years. But let's not forget the true meaning for Christmas. Merry Christmas again.